Warning. The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
And welcome to Hazardous Materials.
What is up?
Hello, my name is Casey Johnson.
Gideon Gonzalez, as always.
As always. And we've got a few things to talk about today because Marvel 1000.
Yeah.
Marvel 1000 came out today.
They cheated their way to 1,000 issues, and I'm very glad they did.
This is their 80th anniversary book, and it's a thick $10 book.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty big one.
That you have to buy multiple copies of.
You do have to buy multiple copies. We kind of brought one in here. We brought the 70s copy in here. And I got a chance to tear through this right before we started recording here. And the concept is they took 1 year of every Marvel history and they said, okay, well, this happened and this happened. And they give you 9 panels of whatever happened or like a reference or even some stories. And there's so much good stuff in it. I gotta really cut down on my cursing, don't I? There's so much good stuff in this that I hate it because Gideon's got a copy and I don't. So
you fool!
I'm a total fool. I actually went hunting for this comic at our local store, and I was apparently late to the game.
Oh my god! Yeah, we sold out at like noon.
I was really upset about that.
Yeah, I was also pretty upset about that. I mean, I got my copies, but I was just like, damn, I really wish we had more for people.
Well, okay, so they got a lot of cool things. They start off, of course, with the birth of the Human Torch back in 1939.
In Marvel Comics #1.
Right. And wow, it just kind of go from there. And there's actually a narrative that's actually going through this entire book about the Eternity Mask. Mm-hmm. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Al Ewing is a wizard. I'm going to say that up front because he has managed to connect pretty much every piece of Marvel continuity, like across the pulp stuff, the Western stuff. The original Black Knight comics get brought into it. It is basically this artifact called the Eternity Mask. It's attached to characters like the Masked Rider and the Thunderer. There was
Dark Avenger.
Yeah, Dark Avenger. It was just like this really deep cut pulls of characters. Again, like a lot of pulpy ones that I wasn't familiar with. But the way he tied everything into the Marvel Universe and is making this arc now, because of course they're going to make Marvel Comics 1001 where this story is going to be continued. Yeah,
they also talked about the concept of wearing the black mask, and in American culture, it's like it's the evil guy or the bad guy. It tends to wear the black mask, while in like Asian cultures, it's like a sign of heroism or nobility.
Yeah, like going back to the Black Knight story, which, man, what a week to actually care about Black Knight.
Right. Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about Black Knight a little bit later on in here.
But I really liked the whole it made peasants into the equals of, because like the power of the Eternity Mask in the book is that whoever wears it becomes the equal of any competitor they have if the competitor is of greater skill. So it's this great like equalizer.
Look at that framework on Black Knight. That is so stinking cool.
So peasants are like able to fight off knights and they kind of are able to eschew kings. So it has a much different connotation than, say, the Western Masked Rider character, who's like an avenging Lone Ranger cowboy style. But it's just really neat the way he's able to tie these in as different like forms of heroism over the years with the Eternity Mask. I'm really excited to see what he does next with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about, and they even brought in like weird old characters. No one really talks about, like Night Thrasher.
Oh my God. I'm so glad you brought it up because I was going to bring up Al Ewing's love of Night Thrasher.
Okay. So that's where that's coming from.
Yes.
Because he's talking about the mask, and the guy that he's talking to on the phone is like, are we talking about you? He's like, no. I'm not. It's not that. We wear masks under masks.
Yeah. He first brought Night Thrasher into Contest of Champions, which was originally a video game tie-in comic that he managed to make so much more than that. And Night Thrasher introduced as kind of like one of the ultimate badasses in the book. The way I've heard Ewing describe in an interview once was he does everything Batman does, but on a skateboard. He's automatically cooler Batman.
I also want to talk about for the year 1962, they talk about the fact that Spider-Man debuts Amazing Fantasy. And the whole frame is Peter Parker calling the head of the Columbia Biology Department about his newfound abilities, and he's trying to figure out what's going on about it. And of course, he's talking to Doc Ock, and Doc Ock proceeds to completely piece apart the whole concept of Spider-Man. And he goes, hey, I've got all the characteristics of a spider. And he responds and goes, do you have 8 limbs? No, I just have the regular amount. 8 eyes? Nope. Venomous fangs? I got human teeth. Do you excrete a silky thread from your abdomen? Well, so far, I coincidentally designed this web shooter that does all these fantastic things. Sounds like you were bitten by an incredible engineer.
I really loved, there's a bunch of Spidey stories, obviously, because Spider-Man. I think my favorite one was the one by Brad Meltzer and I'm blanking on his name. Tedesco did the art. And the premise of it is Spidey saves a pregnant woman who's about to get hit by a car. And she says, tell me your real name so I can name my son after you. Right. And he kind of pauses and then tells her that his name's Ben. And the kind of like the ending is this montage of all of these parents naming their kid Ben, presumably because they were in a similar situation. And that really got me. That was really nice. Sweet. I loved that one.
I actually really enjoyed that too. And they also do talk about some of the licensed properties that they've had on and off, like Conan and Star Wars.
Ones that they have again. We're not getting the Transformers page in here.
Sadly, unfortunately. And I want to talk about a little bit about Darth Vader's role in the Marvel done comics, because every time he's on.
Like the best Darth Vader stories are in the Marvel comics of the last 5 years.
Easily.
They're so good.
He has the best lines. Like this, there's a page in here called Red 4, and it's all about a rebel trooper that suicidally hit Vader's his ship. And all the rebels are like, holy crap, this is going to be a blow to the Empire. We're going to be heroes and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, the rebel comes apart, or the rubble comes apart, and one of the rebels looks over and goes, no. And then Vader looks up and goes, yes. And the lightsaber goes off. Like, holy crap, if that was only on a TV show or a movie, that would be just as good as the Rogue One final scene, which is the best Vader scene ever. And I'm okay to totally about that.
My favorite Vader scene, just period, is in the Vader Down comic. It was a crossover between the Star Wars book and the Vader book, where the rebels are like, we've got him surrounded. And Vader just goes, all I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men.
So awesome.
So good. Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader run is the best thing to come out of Marvel regaining the Star Wars license.
It is so good. I got trade paperbacks just because of all the damn one-liners that Darth Vader shoots out. If only he was more self-aware just how menacingly badass he really is. I think he is. And I think that's the reason why we're getting this. It also, we go into a little bit about Alpha Flight, kind of. The first appearance of Guardian as Weapon Alpha back in 1978. We got She-Hulk, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. We're going to talk a lot about She-Hulk. Let me tell you
the
that.
Hercules page, I loved, and I did not know
love that
Prince of Power was the first Marvel miniseries.
Yes,
I had no idea.
Right before Frank Miller's Wolverine.
I like that they mentioned that in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so self-aware because they're talking about, hey, come on out, Hercules, and talk about this. And he's like, no, you need to talk more about me and talk about all the many fair maidens that I have laid other than Thor. And,
is this about Thor? No. I love Marvel's Hercules. He is one of my favorite characters, and I really wish they would bring him to the MCU.
God, that would be a great opportunity to do it in, Eternals would be a great opportunity for them.
But then I'd have to, be excited for Eternals, and I don't want to do that.
We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about our lack of excitement and our excitement about several projects coming out in the second half here. Let's see what else. There was another thing that I really liked, and that was they did a page for 2008, and this was the Iron Man movie released. And I don't know if I can do this justice by describing it, but it's basically panels of old Iron Man armor helmets coming off, coming apart, coming on, coming apart. And then the last frame is just a picture of Stark's face, and it comes apart, and then there's nothing.
Yeah. Chip Zdarsky's going to be selling that as a print for years. It's gorgeous. I want that on my wall. I don't even like Iron Man.
That really hit me. I was like reading this. It's like, yay, this is great. Yay, this is great. Look at all these references. I'm not prepared for this. My heart is not prepared for this kind of damage.
I liked J. Scott Campbell poking fun at his ridiculous Mary Jane poses. That was really fun.
Oh, yeah, the Mary Jane page.
And
Yes.
honestly, I was like, man, I miss J. Scott Campbell doing interiors. I know he's doing Spawn next week, which, man, I can't believe we might actually talk about a Spawn comic on here.
Oh, God. I hope not. Now, throughout the rest of this, let's go back to the story that's going about this whole thing. It starts off way back in the 40s with three men. They call themselves X1, X2, and X3, the three X's.
The three X's.
These are apparently the gentlemen who are concerned about the next step of human evolution. Which
the next wave of human evolution.
Yeah, but they're not talking about mutants because this is the 40s and Marvel hasn't cashed in on the idea of mutants and wouldn't for another 20 years.
Bomb hasn't dropped yet.
So the premise of this book comes through, and now we've got a Wu from Agents of Atlas. We got Night Thrasher, and we got Blue Marvel. Now the new 3 X's.
Yes.
So I'm really kind of curious to see where this weird collection of people, but they nail it. You got Wu is from the 50s. Yeah, and what was it Blue Marvel? He's from the 50s or the 60s.
He's the character, I believe, is from the 60s. Like in universe, he's from the 60s, but he's created in like 08, 09.
And then of course you got Night Thrasher, which screams 90s.
Oh yeah, he's got a skateboard.
So we got
he's got a skateboard and a fanny pack.
And he actually had the skateboard in his hand.
He's just carrying it around. I love it.
Oh, now you're trying to hide his silly ass.
Everything that Batman does, but on a skateboard. It's automatically cooler. I'll make the rules.
Now, of course, we're ended with what is apparently the new masked rider wearing the mask of eternity.
Did you see there's an extra last page?
Yes, I did. After that.
And the all-time classic Marvel Cosmic character comes back. Michael Korvac.
Who was involved in the Skrull-Kree War of the 70s with the Avengers. That's when the first Captain Marvel was running around, Marvel himself. I can't endorse this $10 book enough. This made me geek out like super hardcore.
And I'm sure they'll do a second printing in the next week or two.
And it had so many covers, and we were wise enough to get the 70s horror cover.
I love my 70s horror boys. The last big major comic book I bought was A Tomb of Dracula #10.
Oh, I need to get that.
Oh yeah, it's still stupid expensive, and it's been stupid expensive for years.
This reminds me of that stupid Moon Knight meme, which I can't repeat in its entirety.
Where's my money, Dracula?
You dork.
Oh, Marvel did just announce that Moon Knight is coming back in a unexpected and awesome way, and my first response was, "Is he gonna be hunting Dracula for his money?"
Oh my god! I bet they're probably gonna bring in some werewolves. We'll talk about that in the second half. But now we're gonna move on from Marvel 1000 and into House of X.
Your weekly X-Men coverage.
your weekly novel of House of X, and this is just as thick with stuff that the other books are. But we got the alphabet now. We got the Croatoan. Not Croatoan, as it says. How do you pronounce them? The island.
It's Krakoa.
Krakoa. We have the
Krakoan alphabet,
which looks very similar to another alphabet that Hickman did.
I really loved the little note where it's like, despite the name, this is not actually the language of the island Krakoa, as that would be like indecipherable to anyone but Cypher. Yeah. And so Cypher just made an approximation of it for mutants. So
now we got something else to geek out of and like write our names out and Krakoan and whatnot. But
get Krakoan tattoos and whatnot.
So this kind of wraps up what was happening in the first issue was when Sabretooth and Mystique had broken into a facility to gain some stuff, and Sabretooth got a little claw happy with some of the security elements in this place. And now he's basically on the docket, and he's all secured up, and they're getting ready to do the formal accusations on him. And then White Queen just busts on in and says, hey, he's a mutant. He's a citizen of Krakoa, and therefore has...
We just negotiated complete diplomatic immunity with the entire world.
So I'm going to take this murderous monster. We're going to head on out of here, and you're going to let it happen.
Which really explains why Cyclops was so nonchalant about them taking Sabretooth. It's like, okay.
We'll figure it out later.
Exactly. See ya. So mutants can't do crimes anymore.
What do you think that the precedent that this book and this series is setting is going to exist past the books?
I don't know if it's going to be as extreme. Well, none of the other solicits mention X-Men stuff outside of the X books.
Mm-hmm.
So they very well might be like 100% self-contained for at least the first year. We'll see. I'm sure there will be a massive crossover event in a couple of years where the X-Men come to blows with everyone, as they are wont to do.
As it's
but
the way it is.
I actually trust Jonathan Hickman to do it well.
Bug.
Yeah.
So what was your takeaway from this issue, aside from Sabretooth looked really good in it? They did.
The X-Men are all dead. just the Blackbird just gets blown up on on Mother Mold.
Oh, that's right.
Which,
the big Mother Mold thing around the sun.
Ooh. Man.
Tell me.
Damn it. I'm blanking. I had a big point, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh, yeah. Moira's purpose. That it's not just to stop the AI from taking over because it's inevitable. It's specifically to stop Nimrod.
Yeah, because it's inevitable that Nimrod or some concept of Nimrod will show up, and then that's going to be the end of mutant kind.
Exactly. And because she recognized okay, we can't stop AI from happening. That's going to be a naturally occurring thing. But we can stop specifically Nimrod, who is the end result of the Sentinel program. And humans are at the Mother Mold stage. They're ready to turn her on. Mm-hmm. And then
they'll talk about what is self-aware and what is self-replicating.
Yeah. Oh, I love that flow chart of just explaining
exactly
Moira's plan, what a Nimrod is. Man, I cannot believe my boy Nimrod is doing so well for himself.
And he seems to be the end all beat all. It's once you get Nimrod stage, that's the terminus.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get better than Nimrod, period.
Yeah. As much as I'm loving omnipotent future dictator Nimrod, I do kind of miss my living in New York, being a construction worker Nimrod.
Exactly.
A sweet boy.
So we don't know what's going on with Moira McTaggart just yet. She was killed by Wolverine in life number 9. We don't know where life number 10 is taken us just yet.
Yep.
Or where life 11 might show up. So I guess we're just going to keep waiting on those issues. Moving on. We took a look at Avengers.
Oh, man. It is the funnest blockbuster comic right now.
Yes.
It's just nuts, and I love it.
Knee deep in Ghost Riders.
Oh, so many ghosts.
So many Ghost Riders. And this comes almost as a herald for the new Ghost Rider book that's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to star Danny Ketch. What's it? Is it called The Fear of, or was it?
It's Fear the Ghost Rider.
Fear the Ghost Rider, pulling a little Walking Dead stunt there.
Yeah, very excited for that. Jason Aaron doing Ghost Rider stuff again after his amazing run on Ghost Rider is very exciting. The only downside to it is a character who I don't much care for shows up at the end, who is a package deal of Ghost Rider lore now.
Tell us.
Cosmic Ghost Rider. Do not like him.
I am a mixed bag on Cosmic Ghost Rider. I like him for almost his self-aware comedic points, but as a character,
I don't like that it's Frank Castle.
Well, there's that, and he's also got that Sentry vibe to him that I never really dug.
That he's just kind of untouchable.
Yeah.
He's I used to be the Herald of Galactus, and then I killed him. I used to work for Mephisto, and then I beat him. I used to work for I was one of the last beings alive at the end of time with Thanos, and then other Thanos killed him.
I'm expecting Squirrel Girl to actually be in that armor.
Oh man, that'd be a great twist.
That would be the end. Just
I'll say this positively on Cosmic Ghost Rider. I do like how he was used in Donny Cates' first Thanos run, which on the whole I didn't really enjoy, but I like Cosmic Ghost Rider.
In that reference, it makes sense.
Very small amount. He's a side character. He's the fun comic relief between two very angry Thanoses, two grapes at war. Grapes of Wrath, even. So, just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on in the Ghost Rider continuity, Johnny Blaze is still a Ghost Rider, but he now replaces Mephisto on the throne of Hell. And we got, is it Ronnie or Richie? Robbie Reyes.
Robbie. I knew it was an alliteration of
with
some
the Hell
sort.
Charger.
And he's in Hell. And, Johnny Blaze is trying to explain, it's listen, you really got to do this. You got to race me. Mm-hmm. So I can take your power, so I can keep, the forces of evil at bay. I have to have your power. Come on. You got to think about this rationally. And Reyes is like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. It's like, okay, listen, I don't want to do this, but I might totally screw up your brother if you don't do this. And it's like, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't appreciate that. No.
I loved the Death Race 3000 style, just like Mario Kart on crack aspect.
There's
to
no
it.
rules.
Like,
you realize that
when they start shooting flesh cannons at them.
what the hell is this? It's like hands and heads
Just
bouncing
being
off
shot
of
out
his
of
windshield.
living cannons.
That was the best. You know you're in real hell.
Johnny Blaze, stunt rider extraordinaire, making a ramp for himself out of corpses. Like just using his King of Hell powers, just make this giant ramp appear in front of him, just jumps off it.
If you were, what was it? He was making fun of Blaze because he uses a bike. It's like, if you hung around my circles, they would make fun of you for your little burner. And I was like, man, kid, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Ramp.
He makes a comment where it's like, you just brought a tank to a drag race or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it was great.
I really enjoyed that, and I like the fact that Ghost Rider is still relevant, even though Marvel has kind of dropped the ball in some of the past issues with Ghost Rider.
Oh, and Blade. I love Blade. Love Blade being an Avenger because I love Blade.
I love Blade.
But the way he's kind of just like, I'm not going to say like the bewildered outsider, but the guy who's just kind of done with all of like this crazy superhero stuff. But he himself is very into different crazy superhero stuff.
Yeah, he's jaded with it.
Like he's got his baby man thing, boy thing, who rides on his shoulders, makes him stakes to kill vampires with, and sometimes gives him big mossy wings to fly with.
I like New Blade, and I want them to give him a new title.
Yeah,
and I know it's inevitable because we got the Blade movie coming up. Whatever year, Phase 5 decides to hit us. Now let's move on to Marvel's Spidey life story. Now the concept for this is Spider-Man ages in real time. So basically, he got bit back in 63? 62.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically been Spider-Man this entire time. So each year or each issue is a decade of his life. And now we're in issue 6, which is the last one.
I actually think you might be right. I think it was 63.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
don't feel like a scrub.
But yeah.
I appreciate that. So I actually bought this to read for myself, and I didn't get a chance to do that. So tell us a little bit about it.
So it continues the tradition of Spider-Man life story where they managed to cram in every single thing that happened that decade into one comic. Well, almost everything.
They got Miles Morales in this one.
Yes, Miles is there. It's really hard to talk about without spoiling it. There's a couple of really big twists that are related to 2010s things. Mm-hmm. But just know if it happened in the 2010s, they work it in there. Although it's not like the 90s where they had everything but Gathering of the Five.
The Gathering of the Five.
They didn't have Gathering of the Five, but they had everything but.
And Spider-Man, a very old Spider-Man, I might add. It's got this weird asymmetrical kind of Spider-Man outfit where the webs are here and the blue is here.
Yeah.
I didn't get too deep into it, so obviously, whatever you come up with is going to be brand new to me. Yeah. But hopefully, I'll have something to read when I get home.
Yeah, I don't even want to spoil it for like the listeners because you should read this book. And the trade's coming out like next month. I think we've been talking about doing a deep dive on it.
We're going to do a deep dive. Yeah, we're going to get really into this book when the trade comes out. It was like maybe a week, 2 weeks. We'll figure it out.
The trade will come out like in a month or so. So we're a ways out on that.
Okay, man, we got a few weeks.
Exactly.
We're definitely going to get into this thing. All right. So next up, we're going to dive out of Marvel and into the independents. This one is actually a Valiant book that you sold me on.
Yes.
Called Dr. Mirage.
I love the original series by Jen Van Meter, and now it's written by Magdalene Visaggio with Nick Robles on art. And it's a good soft reboot for the character. Like it's keeping the continuity of the Van Meter stuff, but it's moving forward in a very, very interesting way.
Now, I kind of lost interest in the Valiant stuff way back in the 90s. So I don't know anything new. So this is a complete new concept to me.
That Valiant can be good.
There's that. Especially when I was like, I didn't know it was a Valiant book until I got to the back and then the Bloodshot promo happened. I was like, oh, really?
Oh, they really want you to know they published Bloodshot.
So the concept of it is that I got was that this woman used to see dead people with her husband as part of like some kind of magician show.
They were like celebrity ghost hunters.
And then she lost the powers and she lost her husband and she's in this home, in a really expensive house that she's magically warded so no one can actually find it.
Yeah.
And isolated herself trying to get her powers back. And as goes forward, she screws up and blows off the roof of her own home.
Yes.
And when she does this, it brings her to the attention of a teenager who knocks on the door. Now, when you've got your house warded up and you're not expecting visitors and you get a knock on the door, it's going to get your attention. And that's exactly what we got going on here. And do we want to go for the 9 yards on this one
and like reveal like the big twist of it?
The big twist.
I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, it'll have been a week. And I think the twist will help sell people on it because I do really want people to buy this book.
So basically what they tell her is like the reason why your powers are not working, the reason why you can't see the dead is because you're using a process from the wrong side because you are dead and this is hell.
It was such a cool reveal. Just like, what?
Yeah, oh, and by the way, I'm dead too. So, yeah. That's, I guess, the concept is, are we going to get that out of hell?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I'm kind of gathering from this. I enjoyed this.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did enjoy this. So
this is your first time reading the character, which is...
It's my first time reading Valiant in God knows how many years.
Modern Valiant's been very, very good since they relaunched in, like, I think 2011, 2012 was when the new EXO launched.
See, I had no idea this character even existed before this issue.
Yeah. I think mostly in the 90s stuff, they focused on, like, the husband was the lead. But with the relaunch stuff and Jen Van Meter's run, and I think she did 2, like, 5-issue miniseries, they focused on her as opposed.
Okay.
Like, so, I have a 90s Dr. Mirage #1, and it's just a full page of the dude, Dr. Mirage.
Did they have a cool costume and everything?
I would not say it was cool.
Maybe that's why I didn't read
Modern Dr. Mirage is a much better costume.
You know, I have to say it when I see a new book, regardless of who is starring in it and who's writing in it, if the art is beautiful and it's a nice new costume, I will buy it. I'm just drawn to that kind of stuff, and I think that most comic people know that, and that's the reason why.
I mean, I think like 90% of Spider-Gwen's initial hype because she had a really, really good costume design.
Yeah, same thing goes for Gwenpool.
Yeah, great costumes. They sell books.
Yeah, Gwenpool didn't exist at all as a character. It was just a gag for Secret Wars.
It was just because they did Gwen variants. So you had the Gwen Vengers. I guess like Gwengers would have been the better pun.
Right.
Gwen Devil. She Gwen.
And then, of course, Gwenpool. And I think we talked about Gwenpool and the concept behind her before. And I just can't get enough of this character.
It's such a good book.
It really is. Moving on, we're going to dip into a book you also sold me on, which I would not have touched with a 10-foot pole. And yet here we are, called Planet of the Nerds. Now, the concept you told me about this, and of course I read it, is 3 jocks from the 80s are frozen and brought back into the nerd-friendly world of the present.
Yeah. The first issue, at the end of it, when they wake up, they stumble into a Comic-Con. So they are thrown into the deep end.
And so it turns out they were frozen by one of their abused their victims.
A kid they used to bully.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, he's not looking too good these days.
He's a piece of work.
He is a piece of crap. I mean, not only does he turns out later to be. Do we? I don't want to spoil it. But it also gets a little political.
Yeah, I don't want to go too deep into it, but he is a piece of work. And did you read the backup story too?
I did.
Which, even more of a monster.
Yes.
So yeah, Planet of the Nerds is really, really fun book from Ahoy Comics. They're my favorite new publisher. They do The Wrong Earth, which for my money is the best superhero comic on the market, even though it's on hiatus right now.
Bold statement.
Yes. Whenever it comes back, I will talk so much about it because I love that book to pieces.
I'm actually very curious now.
Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Terror, which is a really fun anthology horror comedy book.
It seemed to do a lot of comedy books. I'm really surprised by that.
And Bronze Age Boogie, which is another favorite of mine from them, where it's basically just a love letter to 70s comics tropes. So you have talking apes, barbarian princesses, kung fu masters, vampires,
kung fu masters,
everything 70s comics is mashed up into one battle book, and it's super, super fun.
Oh god, you know what? That totally reminds me when we're talking about kung fu, and in the 70s, kung fu was a big deal. Showing up in DC and Marvel comics, and it brought forth characters like Iron Fist and Shang-Chi. And one of the things I really loved about Marvel Comics 1000 is it brought back one of my favorite D-list characters as a highlight for that year, and that's White Tiger.
Yes.
I was really surprised to see them talk about White Tiger.
Legacy of White Tiger too.
Yeah, and it shows the fact that both his sister and his niece are actually both active, both using the White Tiger thing, even though the amulet's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think I brought up White Tiger before in one of our episodes. I feel like
probably.
Well, basically, this is the first Puerto Rican superhero from the 70s, and he was empowered by a jade amulet, a tiger amulet that gave him increased abilities, and I think it actually was the source of his martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, he went out. He was wrongfully accused of murder, and while trying to escape, he was killed by police.
Yeah.
So now we have his legacy. But I was really hyped about the fact that he was in that book.
That was really, really cool. And then his niece was she was just on cartoon, like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon for 5-6 years.
That's actually my favorite version of it. Yeah. I really love the White Tiger thing. So let's quickly hit the DC books that we were supposed to look at. Well, aka you looked at.
Yes, I say I'm not reading a ton of DC books, but the DC books I read I love them a lot. Terrifics has one of my favorite casts in comics ever, with Mr. Terrific, Boy Metamorpho, his dog Metamorpho, Plastic Man,
and
a new take on Phantom Lass from Legion of Superheroes. She is the ancestor of the Legion of Superheroes character.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
I think I actually saw photos. Is that the same Phantom Girl?
No. Yeah, it's a precursor to her.
Oh, okay.
She's of the same, she's from the same world, and I'm fairly certain she's her ancestor. I can't remember she's got a really weird to pronounce alien name.
So why did you like this book?
Well, this issue in particular was a Bizarro story, and Bizarro is one of my favorite characters of all time.
I do remember that.
This one, it's a Year of the Villain tie-in, which on the whole I'm kind of lukewarm about, but has one of the funnest takes on the idea of Lex Luthor buffing up supervillains, where in this one, he gives Bizarro a time machine so he can become Superman's true opposite, the Man of Yesterday.
Oh, God, as opposed to the Man of Tomorrow. Okay, I got it.
Bizarro finds Bizarro World is becoming more and more dependent on technology than him saving the day.
Oh. And
so Bizarro decides, I have to go back in time and stop this invention from happening so people will need me again. But all in Bizarro speak, obviously.
So which is really hard to follow.
So he goes back in time and beats up Bizarro, Mr. Terrific, Mr. Terrible, who's T-globs instead of T-spheres have been making everyone's life very simple. Then he comes back to the present. The T-globs are gone, but now Dr. Will Magnuts and his Bizarro Metalmen are making everyone's life easier. So then he teams up with Mr. Terrible, goes back in time to beat up Will Magnuts, comes back up, and they just kind of get oh my God, we have to destroy every invention ever. So they stop Bizarro World ever inventing fire, the wheel, computers, algebra.
Okay, that's got a little off the deep end. So what happened to poor Bizarro World after all that?
It still kind of comes to the same conclusion. So they're we have to go to Earth now. If we stop Earth from ever having technology, then Bizarro World will never have technology. So he puts together his Bizarro Terrifics with a Phantom Lass who is completely invisible, and I don't think she can go through things. A Plastic Man who is made of hard, rigid plastic.
Oh, lovely.
And a Metamorpho who is aggressively handsome and has a gigantic spit curl.
Versus our Metamorpho who looks like pieces of clay stuck together.
Strong as metal, homely as sin, as this theme song says.
Yeah. All right, so we got to wrap this up. We got Martian Manhunter to cover, and then we got to take a break.
Mm-hmm. So Martian Manhunter by Steve Orlando and Riley Rossmo is a great noir horror story with Martian Manhunter. It's about his police detective partner finding out that her partner, John Jones, has been replaced with a Martian. and there are more Martians on Earth, and they got to hunt them down. It's got some great, creepy, very visceral artwork. There's lots of flashbacks to Jean's times on Mars, which are really trippy and weird. There's a full-page Martian sex scene where it's essentially they just melt into each other and become this just like blob. It's so weird.
Oh, you Martian. I don't know. I couldn't get into Martians too much. I mean, I enjoy Miss Martian from Young Justice, but she's actually not even a true...
She's a white Martian.
She's a white Martian, which is completely alien looking.
Yes.
You know, we got the green Martians. They have that weird, extended, impossible man head.
Big old brows.
But white Martians are just a big mix of fangs.
Just terrifying monsters.
They're really horrifying things.
That's not even getting into the Saturnians. Gem, son of Saturn.
All right. So with that out of the way, we're going to take ourselves a little break here, and we'll be right back. We're going to talk about the Joker. We're going to talk about the Flash, and we're going to talk about the Fallout from D23 Fallout. There's so many good things in D23. I don't think Fallout's the right word for it, but we got a lot to talk about.
Decompression from D23.
All right. We'll see you in a bit.
Hey, this is Brooke with Haphazard Fiction, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week. If you're not familiar with everything the guys are talking about today and would like to know more, we definitely recommend that you head down to your local comic book shop. There you can find all your favorite titles. If you happen to be from San Antonio, you can head down to my favorite store, The Dragon's Lair. They have 2 locations here in San Antonio, one at Alamo Ranch, one in the Medical Center, but they also have a location in both Houston and Austin. Here at the Alamo Ranch location, you could meet Rose and her team, who are happy to take care of you. They can set up comic book subscriptions, do special orders on back issue comics, graphic novels, board games, role-playing games, anything you could possibly want to satisfy your inner nerd. And as always, if you like what you're hearing here at Haphazard Fiction and with Hazardous Materials, we invite you to become a patron. As a patron, you can help us build our podcast community, improve our equipment, and hopefully at some point be able to provide you with even more content. You can get there by going to our website at haphazardfiction.com or go to Patreon and search Haphazard Fiction. You can join for as little as $3 a month, and I guarantee you every dollar counts. So from us here at Haphazard Fiction and the guys over at the Dragon's Lair, thanks again for listening to Hazardous Materials.
And we're back with all of the so many movie and TV news to talk about because there was D23 this past weekend.
D23, yes. This is what Disney likes to call it. San Diego Comic-Con Part 2. Yellow French
it's
there.
All Disney stuff, so.
Yep. So we knew that they were holding some cards close to the chest. But before we dig into that, I want to talk about something that you and I disagree on.
Oh.
And that's the Joker trailer that came out recently.
And how do you feel about it, Casey?
I think it is going to be a Scorsesean masterpiece, and you don't.
I think it will be a shadow of Scorsese, a particular Scorsese movie, The King of Comedy, which it basically just looks like a remake of.
Oh, now I will. Okay, granted, this does take place in the 70s. And when Robert De Niro's character came up on the television, I actually thought he was watching The King of Comedy. I had to take a double take and then realize, oh, no, he's talking about Arthur, which in this story is what Joker's name is.
It is I know Martin Scorsese is attached to the movie as a producer. Obviously, De Niro is homaging not his role from King of Comedy, the Jerry Lewis role.
And originally, Scorsese was going to direct this.
Yes.
But then handed it off to somebody else.
It's just like, so I like some ideas in it. I do not like that it is tied to the Joker as an IP. I think I'd be much more excited for a modern King of Comedy that ties in class warfare elements if it wasn't tied to a character as singular as the Joker. I don't mean that as just like there's only one way to do the Joker. I meant that as in a character's omnipresent with such a cultural influence as the Joker, you know?
No, I get what you're saying. But at the same time, I also like the fact that this does feel like, some old school 70s crime drama. At the same time, the struggle for Arthur and his happiness, his mental health, his family and everything. I like the fact that throughout that, we're going to give you a Joker. You're going to get one. And it's going to be just as big as the other Jokers are. And clearly it is because, some of the clips in that movie showcase people wearing his makeup and his mask. So he's obviously got a big thing going on towards the end of that movie.
And I mean, Joaquin Phoenix don't do bad movies. So.
No, he doesn't. I mean,
I'm going to check it out, but it's just not something I'm particularly excited for.
It's been in my rear view a little bit, so much so that I actually had no idea it was coming out in just 2 months. But I definitely going to see it opening night. Yeah,
October is going to be very clown loaded month between that and It. I think it's coming out in September. Is it coming out next month?
It Part 2?
Yeah.
Oh God, I want to say it's coming out the 12th or
pretty soon. But it's gonna still be in the theaters for October.
It's gonna be a lot of clowns.
They'll like have a huge opening. It'll lull for a bit, and then October people want to go see a spooky movie, and it'll come right back up.
Yeah,
just like the first one did.
And then of course 2 months after that we got Star Wars, which we're going to talk about.
Oh boy,
damn. Okay, so we're also going to talk a little bit about some Flash news that popped up recently,
which also ties into It. Because Andy Muschietti, who is the director of It Parts 1 and 2,
is the director
is now in the crosshairs to be director for Flash.
So Flash has had a kind of a tumultuous pre-production nightmare of a process where they've gone through several directors. And even at one point, we weren't even certain there was going to be a Flash, or if there was, we weren't sure it was going to be Ezra Miller.
Yeah. Grant Morrison was writing a treatment for it. Miller and Lord, two of my favorite directors ever, the guys who wrote the Spider-Verse movie. They were attached for a hot minute.
I think that the success of the movie Shazam kind of pushed this in the right direction.
Yes, I would hope so.
Yeah, because, I mean, we've got Aquaman, boom, worked. Wonder Woman, boom, worked. Shazam, wow, this is a gamble. Boom.
Really fun movie. I love Shazam.
I really love Shazam.
It might be my favorite DCEU movie. And I am a massive, massive Man of Steel and Batman v Superman apologist.
No, I am too. Because there's a version of Batman v Superman that I love. I think, though, that Man of Steel could have gotten a nice little color polish and not be so dreary. But
I like it for what it is, but yeah.
Shazam knocked it out of the park.
Oh
and for a while, I had a picture of Freddie Freeman at the very end, doing his little gesture for my Facebook page. It's like, that's the best thing ever.
Man, great year for Adam Brody, too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he got to be the grown-up Freddie Freeman, and he was in just in Ready or Not, which, oh man, super, super fun horror comedy.
Have you seen it?
Yes, it is delightful.
So... it's like I have so many questions about that film.
It's the way of an elevator pitch I should get to people is think of the tone of like Evil Dead 2, but instead of ravenous demons, it's the 1%.
Oh God, yes.
It's a delight.
Okay, now I'm actually interested in seeing this movie.
Oh yeah, go see it.
I could have swore when I first saw the promos for Ready or Not, I thought that was Margot Robbie as the title character.
Samara Weaving is like the middle Venn diagram of Margot Robbie and Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. That reminds me to D23 news. Emma Stone is going to be Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, a weird choice.
A weird choice.
And I mean,
I saw
not
the poster.
Emma as Cruella. I think that's great, but just a weird choice of a movie to make.
Well, I think that Disney's trying to make movies of their villains because of the way that. Oh God,
they're so marketable.
I'm spacing. Help me out here. Maleficent did so well. They're having a sequel for that.
And I think that's a much more interesting take than just doing live action, like slavishly recreated live action remakes. Like, I really like the idea of exploring different avenues and takes on these things. But Cruella de Vil is just not a likable character. Although
she's not.
Glenn Close was able to wring out some humanity in her. So
all of it. So I guess maybe we're going to go the extra mile with that, because for all intents and purposes, Maleficent was not a likable character back in Sleeping Beauty.
But they managed to make it work.
By the way, I want to say that Maleficent is my favorite Disney villain of all time.
She's pretty rad.
She had a whole dragon thing, the black and purple dragon.
Oh, so cool.
That's freaking cool.
Yeah, but I mean, Maleficent wasn't trying to kill 100 puppies.
No, she wasn't. And that's really good. What takes the humanity away from
101 puppies.
101 puppies. Make jackets out of them. Yeah. I mean, how are you going to market that? Or is it she just wants it for herself?
They were talking about it's inspired by like the 80s punk scene, but Cruella is like very posh that she can afford dog fur coats.
Only the finest dog fur coats.
So it sounds really weird. I'm very curious to see. Like, I'm waiting for a trailer just to see what the movie's going to be about.
It looks like it's going to be a period piece, just judging from the fact that her henchmen look exactly like the guys from.
Oh yeah,
which was take place in almost like a Cockney London, with their little derbies and their Vespas and whatnot.
Their high socks.
Yes, indeed. But God, I didn't really know we were going to be talking about Cruella. I kind of want to talk about Black Widow.
Yes.
Which they showcased some footage that we did not get to see because we are lowly serfs.
Yes,
we did not get a chance. But some new characters were showcased in this poster that they released, one of which is Taskmaster, which we've got our reservations about.
Yes, I don't like that he's got a robot skull look with sunglasses.
Yeah, I'm a huge Taskmaster fan.
Love that guy.
I don't want sunglasses Taskmaster.
Yeah, they look real doofy.
I'm hoping that, like what we were talking about before we started recording, that once the camera starts rolling on that one, we'll see something better.
I mean, being its Taskmaster, I would be very amused if he like dramatically whipped his sunglasses off for a fight. That would
they would just be skull eyes.
Exactly. That'd be great.
But when another character was revealed that had not been revealed, it was just talked about, was Red Guardian.
My boy.
Right.
Russian Captain America.
Played by our friend from Stranger Things.
David Harbour,
who unfortunately was also in Hellboy.
Yeah, well, nobody's perfect.
Yeah, I still can't watch that.
It's, I think I called it the worst movie I've seen in theaters in the last 5 years.
Damn.
Yeah. I saw it for free. And I was like, I didn't waste my money, but I certainly wasted my time.
Yes. You feel like the investor of time is just as bad.
I mean, I hate piling up on the movie, but the best thing about it were the nachos and beer that I had with it.
I totally skipped this movie.
Yeah.
Which is really surprising. I love Hellboy. I've loved Hellboy in the comics. I loved Hellboy when Del Toro had it. And I had high hopes for this. But then when I heard the buzz about it from people that I trust.
There was that article, I think it was in The Guardian, where it was just, oh my God, just eviscerating just the behind the scenes drama. And
yeah, I think I read the same thing because it was awful.
Yeah. But enough about Hellboy, because it makes me sad to talk about it.
It does make me talk about Hellboy. Let's talk about other things we're sad about.
Black Widow. I want to say us on the positive train. Red Guardian's costume looks awesome.
Red Guardian's costume does look awesome. And I was leading into that. The fact that we do get a nice profile of it. You see the star in the face. And they're definitely going for the Soviet Captain America. And I'm excited about that.
And I really like Black Widow's look for the movie.
Yeah.
I love that she has like the classic gold, like kind of pellets around her wrist. I like even the white alternate costume looked really cool.
You got a chance to see the white one? I didn't.
Yeah, they released an image of it not too much after. And
I'm jealous.
It's a white costume Black Widow. It still looks cool.
I know the gist of this movie is that they're training other alternate Black Widows, which is the blonde. Excuse me. The blonde woman also in the poster on the left side is Yelena, the Black Widow 2.
Yes, who's a character I know nothing about because the only comic that I read with her in it, the twist at the end was that it was just Natasha in a blonde wig. So
no, I saw. Was it you talking about Thunderbolts? Yeah.
That was the only time I read the character, and I was like, oh, I know nothing about her.
Yeah, I love me some Thunderbolts, and I will say it now that we actually have a camera on me, and multiple people can hear me say it. I swear there's going to be a Thunderbolts movie.
Fingers crossed, man.
Because Baron Zemo is alive.
Yes.
He's wearing the mask.
He's radically different from his comics counterpart, but I don't care. I want a Thunderbolts movie.
And Marvel is starting to pull away from let's kill every single villain in every movie.
Yeah, let's build up we got Abomination there.
Yeah.
Use him.
We got Ghost.
Yeah, we got Ghost. We got Abomination.
Oh, it would have been great if we had Whiplash.
There was a Thunderbolts movie that oh my God, Justin Hammer. We've got Justin Hammer still.
Have Justin Hammer.
You can have him pilot a drone or something.
Yeah. Or just funding them.
Or have them be like,
oh my God, that would be perfect. We're making a movie now.
You have to be in the suit. Yeah, yes. Like a few years back, I was
like, we're getting a big band of superheroes and Justin Hammer's back.
I fanficked a MCU Thunderbolts movie.
Oh my God.
The kind of like the driving agent of it was going to be like Die Hard in a supervillain prison with Purple Man as the main villain, where he's like controlling all the other villains in the prison, but are like core group of Thunderbolts are immune to it for mysterious reasons.
Man, it would have been great if we could have gotten like Luke Cage in on this.
Yeah. Oh, the Cage era of Thunderbolts is so good.
It was.
This is now it's no longer the Blade 4 hype podcast. It is now the Thunderbolts hype podcast.
We are now Thunderbolts. This is Thunderbolts episode 3. I am all about the Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is my favorite villain hero team. For those of you who probably don't know what we're babbling about here, back in the 90s when Marvel thought it would be a great idea to take all of their major properties and stick them on an alternate Earth.
Oh, because that always works.
Because that's going to be great for sales, including Fantastic Four and Avengers. Well, there was a void left by this, and Baron Zemo was like, you know what? I'm going to put together a hero team made of villains. And we're going to take over. We're going to be badass, just like lightning.
We're going to pretend to be heroes, and when they least expect it,
we're going to pull whatever we're going to pull.
The best thing about it, though, is that wasn't the marketing. That it was marketed as the next hero book. And then the last page of number 1 is Citizen V takes his mask off, and it's Baron Zemo.
And then they're showing the alternate identities. And see, we had Baron Zemo was masquerading as 40s hero Citizen V, little known. Patriotic hero. Then we had Screamin' Mimi as Songbird. We had the original Beetle was Mach 3 at the time.
Yes, he's gone up to like 8 or 9 now.
Yeah, Goliath was Atlas, and then we had the Fixer was Techno.
Yep. And
am I missing anybody?
Moonstone. I can't
Moonstone
remember.
was Meteorite.
Yes, Meteorite. I can't remember what her hero name was.
Yeah, and of course the hook of this is that slowly but surely this villains becoming heroes turned into heroes.
You fake it till you make it.
You fake it until you made it. And God, I love that book so much.
It's so good. And even like the later iterations, like I love the Warren Ellis run. I love the Jeff Parker's run with Luke Cage leading the team.
I love the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, Hawkeyes team. Oh my God.
Oh, we're getting away from what we're talking about because we're talking about Thunderbolt's greatness.
Maybe they'll bring another Thunderbolts book back in so we have a reason to talk about it in the future.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a tiny little episode, maybe like a mini episode.
Ooh.
See that foreshadowing? A mini episode.
I just bring my short box full of Thunderbolts books and just be like,
I remember this. We're just going to go over them all of them. Frame by frame. Okay, next we're going to talk about something that you and I agree on right now, and that's the fact that the costumes for the Eternals make them look like the Inhumans.
They're so boring looking.
They're really dull.
Like after Thor Ragnarok showed, hey, you can go full Kirby and it looks amazing. Like, this is what we get?
Yeah.
Like, the Eternals are already such a hard sell.
A very hard sell because it does feel like it's Inhumans. Because we're talking about a family cosmically powered practically. Yeah. Not human, and no one knows crap about them. Might as well be Inhumans.
Exactly. No one really cared about them until Marvel's like, hey, care about them. They're important.
Because no one's screaming for an Eternals movie.
Yeah.
Not a single soul out there is like, I want an Eternals movie.
Like, not even Neil Gaiman could make a good Eternals story. That's how boring these characters are. Like, Jack Kirby, at the height of his power, could not make Eternals interesting.
But this is apparently going to happen, and it's not a show, it's a movie. So they're throwing big bucks at this thing.
They're throwing big names at this thing.
Yeah, you know what? I think that Angelina Jolie, her entire repertoire of work the past 5 years is Disney. Because I haven't seen her in anything. And then D23 comes out and boom, she's in Maleficent 2. Boom, she's in Eternals. We love Angelina Jolie.
She's getting that Marvel money. That Marvel money and that Disney money. I mean, it's all Disney money. But
it really is. But, you know, it matters that it's Marvel money.
Yeah. But on the note of getting people to care about the Eternals, they did announce 2 of the leads of the movie, which I already thought we had the lead with Richard Madden and Angie J.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but Gemma Chan's going to be Cersei.
Yeah,
it was a notable absent when they announced the cast at first. I was like, where the hell's Cersei?
She wasn't on there. And she played Minerva in Captain Marvel.
But I love Gemma Chan, so I'm not going to say no to more of her other movies. And characters that I never expected to have to care about in my life. Dane Whitman, the Black Knight, played by Kit Harington.
I never thought that we'd have a Black Knight in the Eternals. I guess
I never thought we'd have a Black Knight movie, period, because
I'm thinking since he's an Earth guy, and we're all talking about these aliens. Well, for all intents and purposes,
Cersei
aliens
were involved in the 90s, right?
Yes,
back when they were Avengers together.
The leather jacket era.
Yes. Yeah. Which, if that's not his costume in the movie, I'm going to riot. Gotta have that dumb knight helmet, that leather jacket with the big old A patch, and a lightsaber.
Yes.
Which they can call it a lightsaber now.
Yes, they can call it a lightsaber.
Yeah.
This is my lightsaber. Look at the camera. Wink.
It's the best, dumbest design ever. And it's the only time I've ever been like, oh, Black Knight's kind of interesting.
I think he's going to be our point of exposition. Like, he's going to be our everyman who's like, what the hell is this? Well, this is the eternal way of doing this. And this is the eternal way of doing that. Wow, that's really strange.
Will he say things like, I don't want it?
Yes. Oh, yeah, he's going to be British. He has to be very proper about the whole thing. Very pop.
He's like,
I'm really glad that we don't have any British listeners.
I was just doing more of just a Jon Snow, the final season of Game of Thrones.
I went all on that. Well, I went on. Yep.
He really phoning it in on that last season. But you know what? I feel kind of bad for him because I'm sure he was like, can't wait to do see my career next. What do you want me to do, Marvel? I'm so excited. I got all this free time to Game of Thrones. And it's like, we want you to be superhero Jon Snow.
Yeah. Hope you like that.
Hope you like wearing black armor and swinging a sword around.
Yeah. Hope it doesn't suck. Who's directing Eternals? Do you know?
I don't.
It's no one memorable.
I don't want to say she's not memorable. I'm just not familiar with her work. I know she's done some recent stuff.
Has she?
Hold on. Let's give it a
let's give it a whirl. Throw up the color bars. We find out who's directing.
I don't want to be a jerk and be like, it's no one important. Because no, they're giving.
Watch it be like some supremely important person.
They're getting a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Chloe Zhao, mostly indie credits, but that's kind of how Marvel's been doing things. You get a director with a lot of indie success, so you can so we've got an artistic direction here, but then also we do the old MCU stylistic push, and they don't have enough clout to push back yet.
As much as I would love to talk more about Eternals, I don't.
Words no one's ever said.
We're going to talk about stuff that actually made us super excited, and that was Marvel's TV properties. She-Hulk.
Love She-Hulk. Very excited to see a show.
I'm extremely excited about She-Hulk. I'm more excited to find out who's going to be playing She-Hulk.
I'm really curious to how they're going to do it. I hope it's not just someone lathered in green paint. I'd much rather they do a creation equal to Ruffalo's Hulk in terms of just being this.
And I want Ruffalo to show up.
Yes, I'd like Ruffalo to show up. But more importantly, I just want her to have as much care and attention put into her Hulk persona as they put into Ruffalo's Hulk.
You think it's going to be a law drama?
Oh, I hope so.
That'd be awesome.
David E. Kelly showrunning would be my dream.
Oh my God, David E. Kelly pushing forward She-Hulk. That would be a perfect mix.
You could literally just green screen her into old Ally McBeal episodes and I'd be happy. Because I'm a huge
no one's paying attention to the fact that she's 7 feet tall walking around green and stuff.
Huge Ally McBeal fan. And I'm sure that's a big reason why I like She-Hulk so much.
I love Ally McBeal
Great
too.
Show.
Yeah. I felt really bad they couldn't bring Downey Jr. into the last episodes because he was in jail.
That's so sad.
Poor Downey.
He was so good on that season.
He really was. And poor Downey had to suffer the repercussions of being young Downey Jr. before he became old Downey Jr., which is cool Downey Jr.
Exactly. That's our way into the MCU.
Yeah. Got the transition from young to old.
Tony Stark had a little dabbling as a lawyer in his 20s.
Exactly. That's the way I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the last 2 seasons Tony Stark at law. That's going to make me watch that show again. Oh, God. You're actually going to make me marathon Malik McBeal when I get home.
You're welcome.
Now, another thing I did not expect, but I was super excited about was Moon Knight.
Yes. Mark Spector, John Lockley, and Stephen Grant.
I wonder if they're really going to go dark on this.
I hope so. That's my one concern is that they're clearly moving their darker properties into the Adventure into Fear line over on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really want PG-13 Moon Knight. I want full nutso, carving people's faces off, worshiping Khonshu Moon Knight.
Well, you'd be surprised what PG-13 can really pull off when it comes to violence.
Dark Knight.
I think that Moon Knight's going to be an awesome property. I want to know more about these things.
Yeah.
I want to know who.
I want to know casting. I want to know showrunners.
I want to see costumes.
Oh man, I want costumes. They better use the Mr. Knight design from Declan Shalvey's.
The very posh white outfit,
stark white 3-piece suit.
But at the same time, I really want that armor. I want him like coming off of the crescent copter and all that other nice stuff.
And I really want Khonshu to be that big old spooky bird skeleton.
Yes.
In the suit. Also in a suit.
And is he talking to himself or isn't he talking to himself?
There's just so many cool things they could do with it. And I'm just, part of me is worried it's going to be a little watered down. Like, I mean, I know I should trust more in, God, horrifying to say, I should trust in Disney, but like, I don't know. With them shuttling their adult properties like Ghost Rider and Son of Satan to Hulu, I just really feel like Moon Knight would be a better fit there than something.
I totally forgot Son of Satan, isn't it?
Yeah, they're doing a Disney Son of Satan. Of
course, they're calling it Hellstorm.
Yeah, but come on. I'm going to say Disney Son of Satan like as many times as I can.
Every episode. We get a list of all the things we're going to say in every episode. And this
man,
Disney
when we get
Son
close
of
to that,
Satan.
I need to bust out my Warren Ellis Son of Satan omnibus and be like, so you think we're going to see this in a show signed off on by Disney? So they never reprinted it until last year or 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about to come out. And then Last Pass editor was like, we need to put a Marvel Max label on this. Like, because no one was reading the book at the time. So no one really cared how adult it was.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, this is some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah. Well, stuff in the Max books was intense, especially in Alias.
Oh, man.
Well, let's not get too deep into Alias because we can talk about Alias.
When you're retroactively adding a Max label to a book that came out before it existed, like that's how gnarly the 90s Son of Satan book is.
Oh, God. So we've also got a couple other things. Now,
Miss Marvel.
We got Miss Marvel.
We got to mention Miss Marvel.
We also got Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision got some details.
Yes.
The fact that Wanda is actually going to be in Loki. I'm really excited about.
That's interesting.
Yeah. WandaVision's got this weird 50s vibe on its poster.
Yeah, because at first I was thinking like, oh, maybe it'll do like the Tom King and Michael Walsh run on Vision, which is one of my favorite books of the last 5 years, which I keep needling you to read.
Yes, I still haven't read it either.
But but now like looking at it, I was like, okay, it's looking a bit different from that. A lot more idyllic than that one.
Yeah, I don't know what's really going to go on with that. I know that Falcon and Winter Soldier had a new character added to it in the U.S. Agent.
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker is U.S. Agent. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Played by Wyatt Russell, son of Kurt Russell.
Yes.
And who's honestly a really great actor. So good that it makes the nepotism not matter.
But we do want to talk about Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is the new property that they announced. Of course, no actress, nothing to announce, but it's probably going to be geared towards the teen audience.
Kamala Khan is such a great character. She debuted like 5 years ago now, I think.
A few years.
Popped up in 2014.
You know, when I was posting stuff about this on Facebook, I had some rando go, oh, why are they doing this? This book didn't sell for crap. And also
it sold really well.
Dude, it's like the #1 graphic novel for young adults for several years.
Exactly. And like, even if you're like, even just beyond just diamond sales, like it does sensationally well in the Scholastic market. Does amazing at like regular booksellers like Barnes and Noble.
Amazon's got #1.
Yeah, like it has been a massive runaway success for years.
When people ask me, I want to get my kids into comic books and I want to get them reading, I ask them, how old are they? And if they're like anywhere between 10 and up, I said Miss Marvel. Yeah, absolutely. Read that.
It is the new Spider-Man for them. It has captured that perfect like teen superhero book in a way that I haven't seen since like the 2006 Jaime Reyes book.
Now, I do want to say, though, that the creator of the Miss Marvel book, whose name escapes me.
G. Willow Wilson.
Thank you. Expressed some concerns that they didn't think that the powers would translate well into live action.
Yeah, stretchy powers always look kind of gross.
Really do. But we've seen our fair share of Fantastic Four movies to know this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, even if you cover them up, they're still a little weird. Like, I will never get... Damn bug. I'll never get over watching Reed Richards dance in Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Oh, God. And now I'm going to have nightmares. Thank you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they'll do it visually. But I mean, that's honestly the powers are kind of the least of my concern for that show.
It's a drama I'm really
Exactly.
concerned about. And the casting.
I think it's gonna be good though. I trust them. I think they recognize how important of a property it is. I think they know what a gold mine they have, and I think it's gonna get the care it needs.
Okay, so now we got to wrap this up. We're going to talk a little bit about what D23 did spectacularly well. And it's Star Wars properties. Oh my God, Mandalorian. Oh my God, Rise of Skywalker. Oh my God, Obi-Wan.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, everything.
Darth Maul? Question mark?
Darth Maul
Might be happening.
I love the Mandalorian trailer.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so damn good.
Like, it was so just the beats to it, the aesthetic of it.
They're saying it's the most expensive television series ever made.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all.
At $28 million a episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a
lot of money.
That's Star Wars money.
It's Star Wars money. They're really seriously banking on this thing, making it.
Yeah, it's a couple nights at the Star Wars Resort in Disney World now.
God, I want to know if my numbers are right, but that is the numbers I'm hearing, is that there's so much money invested in this thing. It's disgusting.
They've got every reason to be confident in investing in it. Like, as horrified as I am to say it again, like, everyone on the planet's going to get a Disney Plus account. I mean, I know I am.
They've got a special right now for their D23 members that you can get 3 years of Disney Plus for $3.97 a month.
Yeah, see, but I don't even pre-order the services that I know I regularly use into the future. As like, I could do like the yearly DC Universe and Marvel unlimited plans where it saves me like half my money. But I just don't know if in a couple months down the line I'm going to still be using them.
True.
Yes, I do. But I just like the freedom of being able to cancel.
Okay, through the magic of the internet, I've discovered that I'm slightly wrong. It's not 28, it's 15 million. That's still big money.
A lot.
That's still a lot of money.
Still gross.
But yeah, Ewan McGregor came out and officially said, "Hey, I'm doing Obi-Wan."
It's the project I've been wanting since they've been doing new Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, no kidding. You got me out of the clutches of George Lucas. Now you're gonna do some good writing with me, right? Right.
Man, like, Obi-Wan is my favorite Star Wars character.
So, does this mean that Darth Maul's going to be in it? Because he's obviously involved in Obi-Wan, and he's got his own possible TV show. Because that was the rumor that we were hearing on the floors, but no one wanted to pull the trigger on it.
We getting spider legs, Darth Maul?
I don't want spider legs. Don't give me that.
We're talking Todd racing, Darth Maul.
And the last thing I want to talk about is the brief amount of footage that we got out of Rises of Skywalker, which we see Rey decked out as a Sith.
Which I'm 9% sure that's just a vision.
It's either a vision or they're talking about the fact that it might be Emperor Palpatine has created clones, Force-intensive clones, and Rey is like the one that doesn't go Sith.
I have to say I'm still recovering from the original expanded universe Palpatine clones. I don't know if I'm ready for more of that.
I don't know. It just seems like that. She seems really intense, but I think you're right. I think it's a vision. But,
yeah.
I mean, but they're gonna have to give us more payoff than that if you're gonna drop that in the trailer.
It's true, but they also might have been like, "Damn, that's cool."
It is damn cool.
The flippy lightsaber, that was awesome.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up about what we got excited for. Is anything you want to think about? Do we know what's coming out next week? I don't think.
Doomsday Clock is actually coming out.
We are going to talk about Doomsday Clock.
I'm excited too.
I hope that we actually get something out of this.
I say, as much as I complain about the delays, like every time it comes out, it's my favorite book that week. So.
Another bold statement.
It's got to top both Powers of X and I think Immortal Hulk's out next week too. And those are generally my favorites when they come out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Powers of X this time. And I have no idea what's going on. I hope it's more Moira. And I hope we actually find out more about Moira 6.
We shall see.
We shall see. So until then.
See you next time, guys.